Welcome to a century of cinema. Today I will be exploring my favourite films from the year 1930. First up is Le Sang d'un Poète, or The Blood of a Poet, directed by Jean Cocteau. I wasn't sure which year this should be classified as, since it was indeed made in 1930, but wasn't released until 1932. I eventually decided on 1930 because that was when it was born, so to speak. Your enjoyment of this film depends greatly on your opinion of surrealism, because this is not a straightforward plot character movie. It should be viewed more like a dream. Le Sang d'un Poète is separated into 4 episodes. Episode 1 concerns an artist who paints a mouth which comes to life. The living mouth gets transferred to his hand and then he puts it on a statue, which then also comes to life. In episode 2, the statue convinces the artist to go through a mirror where he finds a hotel corridor. He peeks through the keyholes of the room, witnessing various fairly disturbing images. The statue hands him a gun and tells him to shoot himself in the head. The artist then returns through the mirror. Episode 3 consists of children having a snowball fight, where one child is killed by a snowball and turns out to be a chunk of marble. The final episode is a card game between the artist and a woman, taking place beside the child's body, while a theatre audience in the balcony look on. Upon losing the game, the artist shoots himself and the woman becomes the statue. I always think that the best way to view surrealism is just to let it wash over you. Don't try and look for a meaning, and you may accidentally find one. Animal Crackers is the Marx Brothers' second feature of those that still exist, and is still one of their best. There is a kind of plot here, but it is entirely irrelevant. It's simply a platform for Chico to do his routines, Harpo to do his manic physical comedy, and Groucho to do his seemingly endless barrage of one-liners. Oh, Zeppo's there too. The thing is, that's how you do a Marx Brothers movie. Set up a stage, get out of the way, and let them play. This is Groucho, Harpo, and Chico at the height of their powers. And the great thing about Animal Crackers is that there's hardly a let-up in the insanity. There's a couple of short scenes without them to hang some kind of narrative on, but unlike their later films, there is not much time wasted on that. Chico masterfully bounces his bits off Harpo and Groucho and plays the piano in a more hilarious way than you could ever believe possible until you see it. Harpo is the funniest deranged lunatic you will ever see. But honestly, I'm always there for Groucho.
Well, what is it, Captain? What is it?
What is it, you ask? This is a hope chest for a guinea pig.
Oh.
What is it? This magnificent chest. This magnificent chest. I now take great pleasure in presenting to you with my compliments.
Captain, this leaves me speechless.
Well, see that you remain that way.
All Quiet on the Western Front is one of the greatest war films ever made. That's not just my opinion, that's pretty much the consensus, winning the Best Picture and Best Director Oscars, for example. Set in World War I, and oddly, for an American film, from the German perspective, it focuses on a group of young men, boys actually, when we first meet them, being driven into a patriotic frenzy of enthusiasm for war by their overtly nationalistic teacher. It is with Paul, played by Lou Ayres, that we spend the majority of the time. What is so special about Paul is that there is nothing particularly special about him. He is a perfectly normal young man. In a sense, he represents any young man who has fought in any war at any time. This is decidedly an anti-war film. There is no real exploration of who is right and who is wrong, just that young men are needlessly dying, everywhere. Director Lewis Milestone masterfully handles not only the technical difficulty of filming a battle scene, he manages to capture the futility and despair that would exist in the midst of it. The battle scenes are extraordinary in All Quiet on the Western Front. It's possible that they were not actually improved on in over 50 years. While the battles do stand out, there are also some other beautifully shot moments and some incredible sequences. The montage after Franz dies, and we follow his boots and the series of subsequent owners who meet their end wearing them, is something that stays with you long after it ends. For all these reasons, Lewis Milestone's work on All Quiet on the Western Front is my choice for Best Direction of 1930. Morocco is the first of 2 movies on this list, directed by Joseph von Sternberg and starring Marlene Dietrich. It was Dietrich's first American movie and her second collaboration with von Sternberg. Dietrich plays Amy Jolly, a cabaret singer who relocates to Morocco for mysterious reasons. It is there she meets Tom, played by Gary Cooper, a soldier in the French Foreign Legion. Both are jaded and down on love in their own ways, yet they quickly fall for each other. When his commanding officer finds out about an affair Tom had been having with his wife, Tom, about to head out on a mission with his company, figures his days are numbered and goes to Amy, and they decide to leave together. However, Tom almost immediately changes his mind and simply leaves. The wealthy La Bessière, played by Adolphe Menjou, who has been unsuccessfully courting Amy up to this point, offers to take care of her. After some convincing, she accepts his offer and they get engaged. However, when the Legion return without Tom, who is apparently still alive, she finds she cannot shake her feelings for him. The core of this film is the love story between Amy and Tom. There's a lot of beauty in seeing two hopeless people find each other, particularly when the losses in their respective lives have driven them to a different continent.
I understand that men are never asked why they enter the Foreign Legion.
That's right. They never asked me, and if they had, I wouldn't have told. When I crashed the Legion, I ditched the past.
There's a Foreign Legion of women. Who?
Cooper is perfect for the role of Tom. In the hands of a less likable actor, he could come off as quite a jerk. And Dietrich gives what I believe is her deepest, most emotionally affecting and nuanced performance as Amy. So, Marlene Dietrich in Morocco is my choice for the Best Actress of 1930, surpassing even her turn in my #1 movie of the year, which is Der Blaue Engel, The Blue Angel. This is the first Dietrich von Sternberg collaboration. At the heart of this film is Emil Jannings as Professor Emanuel Rath, an exceedingly straight-laced English professor. Rath finds provocative photos on his students, which depict a raunchy cabaret singer called Lola, who appears at a local club called the Blue Angel. Realizing that his students are inappropriately frequenting the club, he pays it a visit. When he meets Lola, his veneer of righteous indignation starts to slip because he is so taken with her, and she seems to return his fascination. He returns the next night and a romance blossoms, a romance which jeopardizes his career and moral standing. The first 2/3 of the film feel like a quirky romantic comedy. However, it very quickly turns tragic. On a second viewing, in early scenes, there is some interesting foreshadowing of the pit of despair that Rath will spiral into. In the club, there is an ever-present, downright miserable-looking clown, morosely haunting the backstage, who disappears as soon as Rath and Lola marry. It is never addressed, but I get the feeling that the clown was once also Lola's beau, particularly when you consider that Rath ends up essentially the same, a sad clown. Perhaps it is addressed in Heinrich Mann's novel on which the film is based. There is a lot I love about Der Blaue Engel. Marlene Dietrich is captivating and infuriating as Lola. The supporting cast is charming and top-notch. The overall atmosphere created by the cinematography and production design is perfectly, beautifully sleazy. But the two standouts for me are the writing, a great screenplay adapted from clearly fascinating source material, and the stellar performance of Emil Jannings, which drives the tone of the film. So for me, Der Blaue Engel wins Best Screenplay, Best Actor, and Best Picture of 1930. Join me next time on A Century of Cinema when I will be talking about my favourite movies of 1931. Now, go watch a movie.